Guys, I am absolutely smitten with Clark and Lois in this show. I honestly think that this might end up being my favorite TV couple since Pam and Jim. I honestly think that it is up there. My Adventures with Superman episode 4 just came out, and this episode really progresses the Clark and Lois relationship. I mean, at the beginning of the episode, like, we see Lois sort of leaning on Clark, and it's pretty obvious what's going on, but it's no longer an unspoken thing. Now it is very much spoken about and acknowledged, and yeah, just everything going on with Clark and Lois, whether it be her just like leaning on his shoulder at the beginning, or like when she was like dragging him around, like grabbing one of his fingers because her hand is one of his fingers because her hand is so small. It was just like I actually couldn't handle. I could not physically handle how adorable they were in this episode. I can't put into words how much I enjoy their relationship. I've talked in the past about how I've never like experienced like a traditional piece of Superman media, right? Because I've only ever watched like Man of Steel and like the DCEU, where Clark and Lois have zero chemistry with one another, and Jimmy Olsen is like he got unalived, and then you have like I've seen Superman and Lois, but even in Superman and Lois, that's like so deep into their relationship that it's not really the same thing. Seeing this relationship blossom is just absolutely delightful, and I feel like I finally understand why people love Superman and Lois. um, so there's that. And then yeah, everything else in the episode was pretty cute as well. So in this episode, Jimmy Olsen his character starts to develop a little bit. He's starting to very much feel like a third wheel in this episode more than previous ones, which I'm sure that's going to get addressed at some point. The villain of the week, he's fine, but he was very much just like a cartoon villain. I mean, I thought he was fun. I will say, the one thing that I really do appreciate about this show is that Superman is very much not invincible. He is quite invincible. Like, a human being in this universe can make a suit of armor and beat Superman. Like, that is a very real possibility, and I think that that's cool. I don't know. I don't want Superman to be just this invincible god character, right? Because I feel like it just makes. I feel like it would just make it. It would be difficult to write stories around that. So I think that's kind of cool. We get a bit more into Lois's backstory as well. I liked seeing how she's kind of estranged from her dad. Apparently her mom died, which is obviously very tragic, right? Her sort of life is a very, I guess, similar and different from Clark in a lot of ways, because obviously Clark has dead parents as well, but he grew up with two very loving parents, and I like just the immediate sort of sympathy that Clark felt for her. I thought was very nice. Them getting closer with one another, and just Lois absolutely leading him on with like taking off her jacket and making him take off his jacket, and it was just all so cute. I can't emphasize enough how cute this fucking show is. Overall, still really loving this show. Just like I never would have expected to like a Superman show this much. Oh, and then I guess I should address the very ending where everything is all honky dory. And then Lois kind of figures out that Clark is Superman. I will say the sequence of her figuring out who Superman is felt a little rushed, I feel like that maybe should have been a mystery for like a little while longer. Like, I don't know, I feel like you could have had this episode end on a positive note and then be on a good note and then maybe over the course of the next few episodes, she's slowly discovering that Clark is Superman. I don't know. We'll see where the episodes progress, but I feel like feel like it might end up being a bit of a mistake to have Lois figure it out this early. Although now that I think about it, I guess the show is called My Adventures with Superman. So maybe by the end of this season, we'll kind of realize that the conceit of the show is literally her adventures with Superman. She has to be working with Superman. But then again, that probably could have been a relationship that developed without her figuring out that it was Clark. So I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna judge it too harshly. Aside from it just being very rushed and her just like seemingly figuring out of nowhere. Although they did an okay job, I guess, of like sort of setting it up with Clark ripping the page, putting it in his jacket pocket. Then he gives her his jacket, and then she fishes it out and realizes that it's a torn page. So it was kind of developed okay-ish, I guess, but even still, it felt rushed, and it felt very convenient that she just like discovered it. Um, and yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how she reacts to it in the next episode, because she mentioned in this episode as well that she hates it when people are lying to her. So that's not gonna. So my guess is that the next episode she's gonna be mad at him. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Goodbye.